What if we told you that an organization controls the world? They control oil prices, which in return can damage an economy or turn the tide of war. Today at Finance Spur, we'll learn about this not-so-secret organization known as the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC. But before that, hit the subscribe button for more videos about finance, technology, and business. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, was established in Baghdad, Iraq in September 1960. It is an organization of oil-producing countries to cooperate and control or influence the global oil market and maximize profit. At its creation, OPEC has only 5 members: Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. Saudi Arabia ranks 2nd in oil production, Iraq ranks 6th, Iran at 8th, Kuwait ranks 10th, and Venezuela ranks 22nd. If we combine these 5 countries' oil production in 2022, it will amount to over 21 million barrels per day, over twice the size of production of the current number 1, which is the United States, that produces 11 million. But OPEC was just getting started. Its members soared to 13, having Algeria, Angola, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Libya, Nigeria, and the United Arab Emirates. Overall, OPEC controls over 36% of the world's daily oil production with over 77 million barrels per day, and it holds over 73% of the world's current oil reserves. But to understand how OPEC controlled the oil market, we must first dive into its history. By the end of World War II, the US was the world's largest producer and consumer of oil, and the world market for oil was then dominated by multinational companies known as the Seven Sisters, or Big Oil. These 7 companies are the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, which, even if it sounds like a shared interest between 2 nations, is 100% British-owned, and Shell, which is also British-owned. The rest of the 7 are all American-based companies and corporations: Standard Oil of California, Gulf Oil, Texaco, Standard Oil of New Jersey, and Standard Oil of New York are all from the John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil monopoly. In September 1960, representatives from the first 5 countries of OPEC met in Baghdad to discuss ways to increase the price of crude oil, citing, together with Arab and non-Arab producers, Saudi Arabia formed the Organization of Petroleum Export Countries to secure the best price available from the major oil corporations. By 1973, OPEC expanded to a multinational corporation, and one of the major fears for OPEC members was that nationalization would cause a steep decline in the price of oil. This prompted a wave of nationalizations in countries such as Libya, Algeria, Iraq, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. With countries having greater control over oil production decisions, OPEC members raised oil prices in 1973, prompting the 1973 oil crisis. The 1973 oil crisis was huge damage to some countries. Oil prices have risen from $20 per barrel to a staggering $60 overnight. One of those countries that were damaged by oil price hike was the United States. The majority of OPEC members in the Middle East declared production cuts and oil embargoes against the United States and other Western nations that supported Israel during the Yom Kippur War. The world experienced a global economic recession, with unemployment and inflation surging simultaneously, steep declines in stock and bond prices, major shifts in trade balances and petrodollar flows, and a dramatic end to the US post-World War II economic boom. Do you think OPEC should be regulated? I want to know your comments and opinions down below. But if you are interested in more videos about finance, technology, and business, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to our channel. Due to some nations' reliance and dependence on OPEC oil, prices soared again in 1979 from $60 to $140 by 1980. Another cause for the price increase was the Iran-Iraq War and the Iranian Revolution. Two of the biggest oil producers in the region were at war, and this disrupted oil supplies. But by the middle of the 80s, daily worldwide demand for oil dropped by 5 million barrels, and non-OPEC production rose by an even larger account. This shrank the OPEC's market share from 50% in 1979 to less than 30% in 5 years. This is due to the price of oil spikes. Yes, it gave OPEC nation a huge amount of profit, but it only lasted a short time. Governments and corporations then invested in research and used less oil. One analyst stated that when the price of something as essential as oil spikes, humanity does two things: finds more of it and finds ways to use less of it. Saudi Arabia then led OPEC to limit output and boost prices, but other nations failed to comply. And then Saudi Arabia flooded the market with cheap oil, causing prices to fall from $140 in 1980 to over $30 by the turn of the decade. This resulted in some high-price oil countries collapsing, making the product unprofitable. Now, let us jump into the current timeline. The pandemic had a significant impact on OPEC and other corporations. The global lockdowns and travel restrictions imposed to control the spread of the virus resulted in a sharp decline on oil demand, leading to a collapse in oil prices. OPEC member countries, along with the OPEC Plus countries, implemented production cuts to stabilize prices and to balance the oversupplied market. Today, OPEC and its member countries faced revenue losses and economic challenges due to the decline in oil prices, prompting them to implement measures to mitigate the impact on their economies. There is another threat to OPEC. Countries such as the United States are lessening their dependence on OPEC oil by creating and developing new techniques in oil production, such as shale oil, which accounts for over 2.84 billion barrels in 2022. Projects such as the Willow projects aim to cut the reliance of the US on OPEC by a large percentage. Other threats to OPEC includes the creation of electric vehicles and other form of power such as renewable energy. But still, a huge chunk of the globe is relying on OPEC oil. And until the reserves run out, OPEC will continue to hold the dominant hand in oil production and sale. Oil is still considered today as black gold. But how did Nike dominate the sports industry? Or how does SpaceX plan to bring humans to Mars? Check out our channel for more amazing videos about finance stories, new technologies, and business tips and ideas. If you like this video, please click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click that notify bell for upcoming videos. But for now, this is Finance Spur. Have a great day.